Hey guys, it's Greg here at the Vinyl Rundown. We have a special guest today, producer and the jazz detective himself, Zev Feldman. Hey Zev, thanks for joining us.
Hey Greg, thanks for having me back, man. How are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you so much. You're joining us from Maryland, and I'm here on the West Coast. And amazing April coming up here. Not only is it Jazz Appreciation Month, you'll tell us a little bit about that. I know you're doing some special product projects, but you've got 10 releases coming out on Record Store Day, which I think is a world record. And let's just talk about one of your labels to start off with, the Resonance label. Tell us real quick, what is the specialty of that label, and then what records do you have coming out on Resonance?
I've been with Resonance Records since 2009, and George Claben, my co-president at the label, and I have produced together a plethora of very important recordings that have, in many cases, even unearthed new chapters, if you will, and different artists' legacies with various recordings we found. And this release date for Record Store Day is very special. Two very meaningful projects that we're putting out. I want to talk about both of them. First, I want to hold up this record right here. This is Art Tatum, Jewels in the Treasure Box. And to me and George Claben, this is really nothing less short of being the Dead Sea Scrolls, if you will, of having that sort of importance. Art Tatum is someone that has inspired both of us. I'm actually a pretty big Art Tatum collector and have lots of different recordings. But these recordings are really marvelous. They've never been out before. They came to us several years ago, believe it or not, via a gentleman named Parker Fischel, who is a archivist that works with Bob Dylan. And through the late, great Phil Shapp, he came to us and told us about a family that was from Chicago, the Holtzfein family, Frank Holtzfein, who owned the Blue Note Jazz Club. And they have recordings that their father had made, Frank Holtzfein. And we dealt with the children, Tom and Jean, who helped us. And anyways, it was really a road of fulfilling this quest that George and I had. But these are really wonderful recordings. Um, this is with bassist Slam Stewart and guitarist Everett Barksdale. This was a working group that toured the whole country playing over and over again. But we have 3 hours of never before released music. We went back to these original tape reels that we had. We had Matt Luthans, who worked with us on our Grammy-nominated Nat King Cole box set, Hitting the Ramp. And we were able to put together this treatment fit for a king with all sorts of amazing editorial and photographs and interviews with different artists. But this is remarkable art Tatum recorded at a peak at an amazing period of time. It's March of 1953 at Chicago. And these recordings have really, besides inspired performances, even the ambiance in the room that you hear audience members shouting requests and these incredible announcements from Tatum himself. It's really remarkable. It's a whole experience, I would say, but it's three LPs. It was pressed by Levinylist, and Matt Luthans mastered the vinyl and worked on this. And I'm very proud. This is something that is like a dream
Well,
come true.
let, let's just back up a little bit because a lot of the younger listeners really don't know who Art Tatum is. And I
Mm,
don't think he lived that long after these recordings were made. So he's really
no.
early
He
part
passed
of the
away in
century.
1955. Yeah, he's been gone for
Up,
so many decades now. I mean, my gosh, 70 something years. This is just amazing music, though. Art Tatum was really one of the greatest, most prolific pianists ever to play in this music. And he had this dexterity and this ability to do things that almost were superhuman in the way that he has these piano lines and the ways that his hands moved. And all you need to do is listen and it comes across. But he is one of the greatest of all time. And I'm not exaggerating that. I don't like kicking that out, greatest of anything. but Art Tatum is something that is his type. I mean, with the skill, it's just he's such a an amazing artist.
Yeah.
I'm
And,
spellbound
and there's
listening to recordings. I really
Mhm.
think back some of my favorite recordings from him are are the solo piano and the small group recordings that he originally made for Norman Granz, first on Clef Norgran and then later on Pablo. I got to tell you, if you haven't heard, I love all the solo stuff because you really get an unbelievable dose, a taste of what he's capable of, and it's really awe-inspiring. But there is this one Clef or Norgran session. It's a small group recording with Lionel Hampton and Buddy Rich, and it's one of my favorites of all time. There's actually, I believe, Columbia put it out as one of uh, their UK pressings. They did something with Norman Granz back then. You would see some that came out. But anyways, like Art Tatum, it's not every day that we find previously unreleased music. You know, he's been gone for so long. He lived this short lifespan. So, you know, I just have to say, I think it's very important, these documents, but it's about the music, and the music is amazing. And it's just wonderful. You get a taste of what it must have been like. He did these shows night after night. They toured all over the country. So, and they're tight. It's a working band. And there is this telepathic sort of energy and something that exists between all of them. And they're master musicians. Really wonderful.
This is probably the first major release from Art Tatum in I don't know how many decades, but
I want to say possibly 20. I think the last major release that came out was the Storyville Records CD box set, which compiled a lot of air checks and different things, which is also worth tracking down. And the great Lauren Schoenberg wrote amazing liner notes for that. By the way, speaking of liner notes for this package, you know, we have Brent Hayes Edwards, who a lot of folks may be familiar with because he wrote this book recently on Henry Threadgill. He wrote a biography. Anyways, you know, we spoke with a who's who from Ahmad Jamal to Sonny Rollins to Eric Lewis to Michael Weiss to I'm trying. I got to look at my brag sticker here. Johnny O'Neill, Terry Gibbs, and Spike Wilner. But Spike is the proprietor of Smalls Jazz Club in Mesro.
oh, Smalls, right, right.
And Spike is one of I mean, from an academic level and being able to interpret this music and speak to its greatness, read his essay, read Eric Lewis, read them all. But there's a lot of incredible insight that's provided into this narrative. I think these recordings just remind us of the greatness of Art Tatum, and I hope that they will be, I think they're a cause of great celebration, but more importantly, for a reason for us to revisit the legacy of Art Tatum. His music, it will stand the test of time. It has so far. It's going to do that for generations to come. There was only one Art Tatum, and I just want to say on behalf of George Claben and I at Resonance, we're extremely proud about this release.
So next we've got another release on Resonance, which is actually a 4 LP set, Sonny Rollins, Freedom Weaver, 1959 in Europe. This is an amazing set.
Thanks a lot, Greg. You know, we're really honored at Resonance Records to have a chance once again to collaborate with the great legendary jazz musician Sonny Rollins. I'm at a loss of words to describe everything that he means to so many of us. He is the greatest living jazz legend and most prolific and just an incredible giant as a musician and also I can say as a human being. And it's been a joy getting a chance these last several years to be in contact with him, working on Rollins and Holland. Truth be told, I was very lucky. Years ago, I worked for Concord Music Group, and I still remember we put out Without a Song, the 9/11 concert, which came out on Milestone. And we even did an in-store signing, Mr. Rollins at the Borders Books and Music at the Time Warner Center in New York.
Wow.
But this music is just outstanding. Let's talk about Freedom Weaver. It's very
Hmm.
important on a lot of different levels. This is Sonny Rollins playing in 1959 on this incredible European tour. It's daring music without a net, taking chances in a trio. And dare I say that this was the avant-garde at the time, taking so many chances, breaking new ground. And Sonny Rollins is just inspiring when you listen to these recordings that feature Henry Grimes, Joe Harris, Kenny Clark, and Pete LaRocca. These are recordings also I want to point out that that had made their way to certain collectors over the years and even have been released partially in bootleg form before. I felt that this would be a really great opportunity to work with Mr. Rollins to put this music out officially for the very first time. This is unbelievably great recorded music performances from Sonny Rollins, captured at this time, 1959, where so much important things were happening in the music and there was all this new ground being cut and so much happening in the world. This is a 4 LP box set. It was extremely ambitious. I will really want to thank my co-producer and my co-president, George Claben, for his generosity in making this happen. But I really need to thank Sonny Rollins. Sonny Rollins didn't need to do this. And I think we made a case that, this music has been circulating amongst collectors as bootleg form, and it was just a crime. And now this music will live on in an official form, which I'm very happy to say. And it's music of the highest caliber. But you can lose yourself and listen to these very different radio broadcasts that were captured across Europe during this one tour. We also have, really, as usual, we go to great steps to have the best writers who can really tell the story and articulate the narrative. In this case, we have the legendary author and jazz journalist Bob Blumenthal. We also had conversation with Mr. Rollins himself. Um, and, we spoke with Branford Marsalis and James Brandon Lewis, Joe Lovano, James Carter, and also the late, great Peter Brotzman. I
Wow.
think it provides a lot of great texture and different voices and perspective. And it's just, such a joy to be able to put this out. But I feel very in debt to Mr. Rollins himself, and I just want to thank him for allowing us to do this. It's important music that's going to live on now, and it's some of the greatest Sonny Rollins captured live. And now it's available for the very first time as an official release.
Well, looking forward to that. Thanks to you and Resonance for getting that out to us. Look for that on Record Store Day. So thank you very much, Zev. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much, Greg.